thing, make sure that I am live over here on her channel, which it looks like I am, so we are good to go. All right, how are you all? I hope you're doing good. If you're just coming in and joining me, again, my name is Laurie Anne Cox. I am one of the designers in Julie's Wreath of the Month Club group, and it is an honor to be here and enjoy some time spending with you. Okay? Look, today we are definitely going to have some fun. We are going to do a sunflower wreath. I want to show you a quick way that you can put a sunflower wreath together. We will be using an 18-inch grapevine wreath, and we're going to be using some 16-inch sunflower picks with some greenery on it. These are really good, wonderful sprays and picks that you can use. We're going to be using that. I have some greenery over here that we are going to fill in. Some really wispy, airy greenery right here. I have some of this. This is just so soft and luscious. We're going to put some of that in maybe. And then I've got a couple other little things that we're going to throw in. But let's get started on our bow. Now, Julie always teaches us the first thing that we need to do when we begin to make our bows is to put our largest, not make our bows, make our wreaths, is to put our largest elements in the wreath first. Well, today that's going to be the bow. So we are going to make the bow. I have 3 bow choices that I have picked out. They are very pretty. This is going to be a fresh, just a fresh sun. The way I envision it is just a really refreshing, bright grapevine wreath that we can put on our door. Okay, so the first thing I have is I have some 2.5-inch sunflower ribbon. I don't know whether you can see it very well or not. It has some really pretty light green and dark green in it, and complements the sunflowers very well. Then I have a solid 1.5-inch yellow ribbon, and then I have a 1.5-inch green plaid, which I think the combination is going to be perfect. It will match the sunflower sprays really well. So I'm going to pull you down. Everybody doing good? Hi, Myra. I'm glad you can hear me. Thank you for letting me know. It's so good seeing you today, and I'm glad you've joined us. So I'm going to pull you down, and let's get started on the bow, okay? Okay, here we go. Let me move this out of the way. These right here are really fun and easy to make quick wreaths with. I love to work with them. I'm going to get my sunglasses on. Not my sunglasses. My reading glasses on, because at times these days I am blind as a bat. Okay, so what we're going to do is I am going to make a long streamer, and I'm probably going to come out about 24 inches to start with. Okay, this is a very pretty ribbon. However, it is a little thin, so working with it is might take me a little bit of time, but it'll be all right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gather or pinch right here. Okay, I'm going to pull you in a little bit closer so you can see. All right, I'm pinching it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my ribbon out, and I'm going to measure out 12 inches. Now, if I measure out 12 inches on my cutting mat, and I bring it up and I gather it in the back, that's going to make a 6-inch loop. Okay? If you are using the Easy Bow Maker, you would want to measure out 6 inches for a 6-inch loop. But if you're doing it by hand and you're measuring, you want to measure 12 inches, and that 12 inches will turn into a 6-inch loop. Okay, I'm bringing it up and I'm taking it to the back. Okay, and then I'm twisting, and I'm going to do one more. Measure out 12 inches. And I'm gathering it in the back. All I'm doing is I'm just holding it with my fingers. Now, the more ribbon I put in, the more I'm going to loosen up my 2 fingers, and that ribbon is going to slide towards the inside of my pointer finger and my thumb. Okay? So I'm going to cut this off. And I am going to pull in some yellow. Let's see, do I want to do yellow or do I want to do green? I think I'm going to do the green. This is 1.5 inch. And I'm going to do 2 loops of this. I did 3 loops of the green, of the sunflower. And I'm going to do 2 loops of this one at 6 inches. I'm going to bring my tail up about 8 inches. And I am going to just pinch it into the side. It's beside this sunflower ribbon right here, okay? And I'm going to measure out 12 inches. I'm going to bring it to the back, and I'm pinching it in. Now, as you can see, this ribbon right here is beginning to go back. I'm not pinching it very hard. I'm going to twist it, and I'm going to bring out 12 more inches. Oh, thank you so much for the kind words. You are so sweet. Thank you so much. I'm monitoring both YouTube and Facebook right now. Thank you, sweetie. I certainly appreciate that. Okay, so I have 2 loops right here, and I'm going to cut. I don't want my bow to be really, really big. So that's why I'm just doing 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to position my loops where I want them to go. Okay? So that's what we have so far. Then I'm going to bring my yellow back over here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start up here. I'm going to gather my 1.5 inch right here. Now you can see how my ribbon is pinching hard. In fact, I'm not even pinching at this point. I'm going to measure out 12 inches, bring it to the back. I'm going to twist, and I'm going to do 12 more inches and bring it to the back. If you are a member of the Wreath of the Month Club, you know that Julie offers very detailed tutorials on how to make bows, which is wonderful. And it always is so helpful when things get slowed down, isn't it? Okay, that's what we have so far. I'm going to cut this off, and I'm going to come back in with just one more loop of this sunflower right here. And instead of doing 12 inches, I'm going to do 10 inches. Hi, Jennifer. I hope everybody's having a great day. It's Friday, and we've made it through the week, right? Time to celebrate the weekend. I hope everybody's had a wonderful week. Now, I'm going to pull this up, and this is going to go in the middle. And like I said, this sunflower ribbon is very thin, but it sure is pretty. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. Now I will be adjusting my tails and my loops once I get it tied down. But that's what we have so far. Yay for Friday. That's right, Susan. All right, I'm going to get a florist wire. I use 22 gauge. I'm going to turn my wrist over like I'm checking my watch. I'm going to lift up my pointer finger. I'm going to place that wire underneath it. I'm going to wrap the florist wire around the middle of my bow, just like that. I'm going to turn my hand over. I'm going to grab hold of the ribbon, of the wire that is around the ribbon or the bow, and I'm going to pull out. With this hand, I'm going to pull in. So this helps give me some tension. So the tighter I can get this, the better off I am. So what I'm going to do is I'm pulling and I'm pushing and I'm twisting my bow at the same time. Okay? Now you don't want to twist your wire. I'm twisting the bow. The reason why you don't want to twist your wire is there are times that if you twist too hard, you can break your wire. But it's kind of like a thin line because the tighter you can get your wire, it helps the loops stand up. It helps your loops stand up to attention, and they're like, hey, look at me. I am pretty. Don't you like the way I look? So that's tying by hand. Anybody can do it. There's no right or wrong way to make a bow. That is just the way Julie teaches. All right? Everybody doing good? It looks like we are. Okay. So once we've got that done, I am going to set my ribbon to the side because I probably will come back in and give some more ribbon tails. So I don't want that ribbon to go too far. Julie is the reason why you can hand tie bows. Yes, that's exactly right. She does a wonderful job teaching, doesn't she? I made hand tie bows before I came along of Julie, but she certainly does a good job teaching, and when I don't do it the way I do it, I always do her way. It's fail proof, isn't it? All right, here we go. Let me get this out of the way. Thank you, Jennifer. This is so cool to me. I get to see you girls talking in two different places. That's fun. All right, so I'm going to pull you up. All right, y'all hang on. Here we go. There we go. There you are. All right, so let's get started. The first thing I want to explain to you is this is an 18-inch grapevine wreath. And the supplies that you need to put in an 18-inch grapevine wreath is more than what you would use in, say, like a 14-inch, okay? So think about your size, the size of your base that you're going to use. And since this is an 18-inch grapevine wreath, I want this right here to be designed. I'm going to design on this right here. So I'm going to need a little bit more. So that's why I have 4 of these. I will say if you're going to use a smaller size grapevine wreath, like a 14-inch, you might only need 2. So I wanted to clarify that before we get started. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. I want to put this right here. Let me get my tails. I'm going to put this right here. And what I'm going to do, like Julie teaches us, is I am going to go through the grapevine wreath with my wire, with my florist wire. So excuse me if I step in front of you for just a minute. I want to make sure that I get it pretty centered. Which this looks pretty centered. And honestly, I do not have a hanger on yet, so I can always move it just a little bit. But for the most part, that looks centered. There we go. Yep, that'll work. All right, I'm going to move my ribbon tails around a little bit, and what you want to do is you want to evenly distribute your color. Okay, see, I have a green one over here. I kind of want this green to go over this way, so I am going to, if I can, move these two tails. That way what you're doing to one side, you're doing to the other side. Okay? So that's why I wanted that here. We're definitely going to put some more stuff in this, but for right now, I have got a good start. All right, the ribbon, the bow is my biggest element, and I have that in first. I'm just going to dovetail these a little bit. I'm folding the two ends or the two sides of the ribbon. Let me get that a little bit better. And I am cutting on a diagonal from the fold outward. Okay? Just get this at least started. I think somebody came in here and got my scissors again. I'm going to cut these a little bit more. Does anybody have any big plans for the weekend? Anybody going on vacation? To the beach, to the mountains, to the lake? I hope it's going to be pretty for you all. Okay, there we go. We have a nice basic bow started. Let me pull you in a little bit so you can see. There we go. Okay? Everybody doing good over here? Oh, thank you, April. I appreciate that. Oh, yeah, so this can go for fall. Thank you so much. Someone's saying, and unfortunately, I can't, the comments are going a little fast for me. Somebody's saying that they like the fall wreath I did. This is really a late summer hydrangea wreath that you can certainly keep up till fall. I taught this Wednesday night in Wreath of the Month Club. I sure did. Thank you so much for the sweet comment. I appreciate it. Okay, here we go. Let's get started. I'm going to pull you in again. Y'all don't get too dizzy on me, okay? Now look, a lot of times you can take advantage of elements that have greenery to them. They have floral in them. They have berries in them. You can take advantage of this and put them in as one or together. And that's what we're going to do. So let me show you. This is my plan. I'm going to put some right here, and I'm going to stagger a couple right here. All right? They're just 4, and that's what I'm going to use. All right? I have another one right here. This is 16 inches. This is a 28 inch. I have another one right here in case I want to fill in some more. And I'm seriously considering using a couple more sunflowers, but we'll see as we go, okay? So the first thing that I did, I've already done it, is I have made this come to life. It came in a packaging, and it was kind of flat. And so what you want to do is you want to touch each element. You want to give it some shape and some life. So that's what I've done with all of these. And once you get them in there, you can certainly move things around, but you just want to make sure before you put an element in your wreath, any kind of element, you just give it some shape. Make it wake up, you know? That's what we're trying to emulate. We're trying to emulate nature. And so, yeah, just giving it a little touch and a freshening up always helps. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. I don't want to come so close to the bow that I lose my sunflower here. Okay? But at the same time, I definitely want one of the sunflowers, the larger sunflowers, to be closer to my bow. All right? Let's remember when things are growing outside, the larger blooms are closer in, and the little shoots, as the plant grows, are smaller as they grow out. And once they get matured, they get bigger. But this is what I'm thinking right here. So I'm going to put this right here. And so I am going to cut off about, well, I'm going to make it about 3 inches, which is right there. Now, this has got a lot of wire in it, so you have to use your muscles, right? All right, let me cut one more down, and we will get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue on it. I don't have much. My glue is about the consistency of honey. All right? I might want to turn that up just a hair. Just a hair. Okay, so here we go. So I am taking this and I'm going to place it behind the bow, but I'm putting it in the grapevine. Okay? Now, this is okay, but I'm going to show you in case this happens to you. All right? You might have to come in and either use bind wire, which is what I'm going to use, or you can use a zip tie. Sometimes, like this right here, sometimes when you're working with a large element, they can get heavy and you want them to kind of butt up against the grapevine. And so one trick that you can use, which I'll show you, is you can take some bind wire and just tack or tie down that one piece, which is what I'm doing. Let me bring you in. Okay, it's right here. Can y'all see that right there? It's right here. And so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to weave my bind wire through my grapevine. And I'm going to gather up some vines. And I'm going to get it to go back through. And a zip tie might be easier on time, but I think we're good. Okay, now I am not tying down any element. I have got a hold of the branch. Okay? So I'm not tying any element down. I'm just making sure that the branch is going to be close on the grapevine. That way the elements won't be sagging or something like that. Okay, there we go. Now we want to move some things around. Okay, but I have another one that I'm going to put in here also. It's going to go on top of this one. All right, there's our first one. Any questions? Everybody doing good? Oh, thank you, Cindy. I try, honey. Everybody doing good over here? Oh, you have to work this weekend. Well, hopefully you'll have a good weekend of work and it won't be too stressful. And you can enjoy some time off after the weekend. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the next one over here. Okay? Can y'all see that? I'm going to put it right over here. So again, I'm going to put some glue on it. And I'm going to go right behind the bow on this side. If I can get it in here. Just move your elements around, and sometimes you can even come in and cut, which I might do, and place them other places. Now, I don't want my sunflower right here to get lost, okay? So I want to make sure, okay, the other thing I want to show you is, a lot of times, you don't want your elements on the same plane. See how these two are on the same plane? And what I mean by plane is I'm talking about on the same level or line. Okay? Wreath making is all about lines and shapes and that kind of thing. So think of it like it's a piece of notebook paper. If I had this sunflower on the same line as this sunflower, that is not what you want. You want one sunflower on one notebook paper line, and you want the other sunflower dropped down or raised up so it's on a different line. Okay? And the way that is described in wreath making is you don't want these on the same plane. That's what you call that. So I need to shift this sunflower down and shift that sunflower up. Now what that does is it adds interest to your design. Okay, it gives it more interest. What we want to achieve is we want the viewer of our designs, we want their eyes to go and blend and work their way through our design. If we have stuff on the same plane, it doesn't give their eye interest to move. So what we're trying to achieve is moving their eyes around. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope it does. Okay, so the next one I want to do is I want to put one right up here. Okay, so I'm going to cut it down again, about 3 inches. I'm going to put some glue on it. Now, I want this to be staggered, so this is where I'm going to put it. I'm putting it on the outside edge just a little bit. If I can get it in there. I might need to put a still pick on it to get it started. There it goes. And I am going to do, I'm going to put some bind wire on this one as well. So we're just going to get a little bit more bind wire. And I'm going to feed it through my grapevine. This bind wire works wonders. It is a favorite of mine because it can really help secure elements in your designs. If you don't have bind wire, you can always use zip ties, and if you don't have zip ties, you can always use florist wire. Let me see if I can get an opening. There it is. Okay. Now, like I said, I am not securing down any of the elements that are in this spray. I'm just securing down the stem. Okay, here we go. Got it. All right, let me get this shaped back up right. Now, some of this I might cut down to place it in different areas, but for the most part right now, I have it where I want it. I just want to get the other one in. See what I'm looking at. Okay, there we go. All right, one more on the other side. I'm going to put this one right here. Okay. I think what I want to do is push this down a little bit more if I can. There we go. There we go. We've just about got a wreath that's completed. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about is you got to think about the shape of your wreath, okay? I want to keep a circular shape, okay? And I don't want my elements, some of them to come out this way, some of them to be tucked in. I've got to keep a uniformed shape to it, all right? So some of these right here sticking out, I might want to trim down a little bit and move them in some places. But for right now, I'm loving the airiness of it. Okay? So let's move on to greenery. I hope everybody's doing good. Everybody doing good over here? Hi, Mary. All right. The next thing we want to do is we want to work in some greenery. This is light, this is fresh and airy. It's got a lot of movement to it. Sorry. It's got a lot of movement to it. And so I'm going to cut some of this off and we're going to add some of this in. Now the greenery that we are putting in, as well as what we have already inserted, is building the shape of our wreath. Okay? So some of these can be fairly long, some of them are short, and you can cut them down. Get the rest of these short ones. But I'm going to come in and add these in, and give it some shape. Now I probably am going to cut this down also, but we will see. I like that right there. So let's see. I put a steel pick on it, and the reason why I did was I want to make sure that the stem is secured inside the grapevine, and I'm just going to begin to build some greenery. I'm sticking this down into the grapevine. I'm not sticking it, if this was the wreath, I'm not sticking it straight through it. I'm going with the grain of the vines, the direction of the vines. Okay, so what I did to one side, I'm going to do to the other, because that's going to help with balance. Okay, let me move this right out of the way. I can already tell I'm going to want to cut a couple of these off and reposition them. Put a little bit of more glue on this. Sometimes your grapevines can be loosey-goosey's in areas. In other words, they're loose in some places and tight in others. You just got to work with it. Okay, so we've got two on this side. Now, I have built this out as far as I want it to go. This one right here is sticking out a little too long. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to clip this one off. I can always put this in someplace else. I'm going to give it a haircut, as Julie calls it. I'm going to cut some of this up. This over here looks pretty good so far. Keep going with our greenery. I'm going to put another piece right here. Well, and I'm going up underneath the bow. And then I'm bending it down. Okay, I've got one more piece right here, so I'm going to put that right there. There we go. Now, you don't forget about what's underneath your bow. You always want to put your elements under that as well, which we will do. Okay, the next thing I've got some long pieces that I'm probably going to want to cut down. So let me cut these down just for a minute. Just taking a couple and cutting them down. This right here is a wonderful filler greenery. It is also considered a linear greenery because it has a line to it. Linear greenery helps your viewer's eye also to know where to go, what direction you want them to go. It's all about helping the viewer's eye flow through the design. Wreath making is also about layers. We are putting layers in. Okay, so I think this right here is long enough. Let me get a couple of these cut off. just trying to make space for, the reason why I'm cutting these little off is I need a little bit more right here to get a still pick on it. Oh, thank you, Bonnie. All right, so I'm going to fill in a little bit right here. Now, for right now, I'm thinking about that imaginary line I have going right here. I don't want it to come way out here. Think in your head, you have an invisible circle that's about 3 inches away from the outer edge of your grapevine. And that's where I want to stay, for the most part, in line with. Okay? So that's what I'm thinking as I'm placing it. There they are. Okay, I need one right over here, but it doesn't need to be as long as this one. So I'm going to cut it down a little bit more. Just one more. And what I'm doing is I'm filling in the holes right now. See how this greenery shoots out? And then I've got a blank space right here, and then the greenery comes back in and shoots in. This area right here would be considered a hole. And all I'm doing is I'm going in and I'm filling in some holes. I'm trying to get that greenery evenly dispersed around. All right, we're going to go up top just a little bit. This side over here needs a haircut, y'all. I need to give it a haircut. So I'm going to give this right here a little haircut. I think I want this, I want to place this in another area as well. There we go. Okay, let's keep going. I want to come up here and put a little bit right up in here. Has anybody made a sunflower wreath this summer? For this summer? Sunflowers can take you from summer into fall for sure. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You know, Mary, that's the way I learn. I'm a very visual learner, but also I need to understand why I'm putting something where I'm putting it. So I'm just trying to help those who, you know, want to know why too. That's why I always try to explain it. But thank you for your kind words. I certainly appreciate it. I've been right there with y'all and still am. All right, I'm going to put one more right here. Like I said, I'm just filling in. I'm trying to evenly distribute this greenery. This is going to look like it's been growing in the wild. And it just has just gone all over the place. You know, that's what I'm trying, that's the look I'm trying to achieve. Okay, so we've got that so far. That looks pretty good. I think it does. Now I still have a little place right here. The last thing I want to do is I want to get up under here. Okay, so let me put a couple of those up under here. Now I'm going to show you a trick. I need more than just one to stick up underneath there. So I'm going to build me a little smaller one. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the greenery and I'm going to cut it up a little bit And then I'm going to put a still pick on it. And I'm going to kind of fill it in. I'm kind of making a little bouquet, if you want to think of it that way. See, like that right there. And that'll be really pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a still pick on it right here. See that right there? And we are going to go right up under this bow. Yes, if you do it too, then you are definitely utilizing your elements, because that is a great way to utilize your elements, is make your own picks. Okay, so let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. Now, I've still got some greenery that I might want to fill in, and I've got these little pieces right here that I definitely am going to fill in too, or put back in there. But I want another sunflower or two in this. I still want to add some more. It doesn't appear to be quite finished. So I have another pick, and I am going to cut this one up. All right, and if I need to use the elements in this one, I will. But for right now, I want my two sunflowers. Now, if you'll notice, one is quite a bit larger than the other one, okay? Let's see, what's a really good way of saying this? When you have your transition point, so in wreath making, if you have a bow, doesn't matter wherever the bow is, or if you have an attachment of any kind that's large, the bow is your transition point. So in other words, all the elements that are in this wreath, they're all coming down into one point, and that's called your transition point. So when you are placing your items in your wreath and you have a transition point like this, the larger element goes closer to the bow, okay? The smaller element goes further away from your bow, or the transition point. If it'll stay up there to give you an example, I might want it right there. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense to you? So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to put this one closer to my bow, and I want this one right here. And I'm going to stick it right up in there. Okay? It doesn't have to be standing up. It doesn't have to be shining like these right here, but it fills in that right there. What I'm trying to do is distribute my color as well as my sizes of my sunflowers. Okay? And I'm going to put this last one right up in here just a little bit. There we go. Now, let me pull you in a little bit. I'm sorry. Sometimes I forget to do that for people. I'm so sorry. Everybody doing good? All right. If you got any questions, just ask. Okay. Everybody doing good over here? Okay, Mary. Good. All right. So let me pull it in a little bit more for you. Okay. So this one right here is in a good place. But when I look at it, I don't want it to be sunken into the wreath. So I'm going to extend this a little bit, and I'm going to show you how to do it real quick. We're going to get a 4-inch floral pick. Okay? And I'm going to take it, and I'm going to place it up against the stem. It has a copper wire around it, and I'm going to wrap this copper wire around it a couple of times, maybe 3 or 4, and then I'm going to wrap the copper wire down the pick and then back up. Hey Jan. Hey Jane, how are you, honey? Good to see you. Okay, and so it is on it. Okay, then I'm going to take florist tape. I'm going to pull it, stretch it a little bit, and what that does is it activates the sticky or adhesive to it. And I'm just going to wrap it down the pick and pull it off. And so now the element that I used in the floral pick, you can't see. Okay? Now, I don't want it to be this long, but I definitely want it to come out a little bit. All right? Maybe like that right there. So what I do is, the other thing that I do is, I take my fingers, and my fingers are my gauge on how far out or how far in I want to come with the wreath. So I want my element, I want this color right here to be right here. Right there. So the distance between the insertion of the grapevine and the color position is that far. It's right there on that finger. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it down just a hair bit longer, just like that. I'm going to put some glue on it, or a still pick if you need to, and I'm going to insert it. And that way it ensures me that I know how far I want the element to be. See that right there? How about that? Okay, we're doing good. We are just about finished. All right, I need to add some more color and greenery to it. And I have several different things. I have some yellow, is this gypsum? I have some yellow gypsum, but I've got too much yellow in there, so I'm not going to use that one. I have some of this really pretty filler flower. It is a pale yellow. I might just want to stick a couple of these in. And then I have some hydrangea vines, which I absolutely love. And I might want to stick these in. Let's just play for a minute and see what it looks like. That's one of my things. I have so many ideas. Sometimes it's hard reining them in. But let's just play and see. I might want to cut this down too. Now I want to bend it. I want to give it some movement and all that kind of stuff. But that would be so pretty coming off of here and draping down, wouldn't it? Very pretty. Okay, I think I want to cut it down just a hair. Let's see. Yeah, that might work. I might want to do that. All right, so like I said, I do have a little bit more, I do have some more filler flowers. I got sidetracked. Let's keep going with the greenery. Now, I want to soften things up just a little bit. This greenery right here is big, it's bold, and I want to just soften the wreath up a little bit. So this is asparagus fern, and I am going to throw some of this in here. Now listen, I'm in the middle of something. Sorry girls, my kitty cat is wanting to talk to me for a minute. Let's see what this looks like. Just cut this up a little bit. I might even need to cut this down even further. but we'll see. That's what part of the fun about designing is. Yeah, I'm going to go in here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be filling in the holes. So what that means is right here, there's a hole. Right here's a hole. Right here's a hole. So I'm just filling that stuff in. Someone with Ladybug Crafts and Design is saying, thank you for saying that. My brain is always just bubbling with ideas too. I thought it was just me. I appreciate knowing I am not alone. No, you certainly are not alone. I don't know whether it would be crippling. That's not what I'm saying. My problem is I have too many ideas. And I have had to teach myself, pick one and go with it. Just pick one and go with it. And so it's taken me a long time to get to that point, but I have. But no, honey, they run through my head constantly. When I have too many choices, it can be bothersome. Now, do you see what I'm doing? All I'm doing is I'm going in here and I'm throwing in some of this soft greenery, and it's softening it up a little bit, and it's filling it in. Can y'all see that? Oh, are you up for some kitty chat? She's wanting something. That's what she's wanting. Let's see, she has just arose from her mid-morning nap. It's funny how cats are, aren't they? They have a routine themselves. Let's see, I'm going to put I say she's my cat. She's she's my son's cat. And he is off to college. And so Mama and Daddy are the carekeepers at this moment. Okay, I'm going to put, this is filling in nicely. Can y'all see? Well, thank you, Donna. Let's see, let me make sure I'm pulling you in. I'm going to put some right here behind the bow. This asparagus just really helps keep things fresh and airy. All right, I think I'm finished for the most part on this side for the moment. I'm going to come over on this side and I'm going to start doing it on this side. I definitely want some right here, but I'm not quite sure I want it that long. There we go. I had my sunflower right here, and I wanted to make sure I had some greenery that was behind it that softened it up a little bit. Let's keep going. See this hole right here? That's what you're looking for. You're looking to fill in the holes. Now I need to come down underneath my bow. And fill in there. Do y'all think it softened it up some? This greenery? It definitely gives it a softer feel, for sure. Cut one more. All right, I need a little bit more right here. Definitely need some more right here. Let me ask you this, do you all see any? Let me know if you see one. And let's see if we work together on our eye, whether our eye can find one. Okay, now you want to go back in, you want to make sure all your elements are shining. Thank you, Eve. All right. Let's go back in and adjust just a little bit. Let's move our stuff back around. We don't want, we want each element to have its own space. So what that means is that each element in your wreath, like this sunflower right here, it has its own space around it. And we don't want our florals to be smashed up against each other. We want to give each of our florals or our flower heads space to shine on their own. Okay? So I am making sure that my elements have their own space and that they can be seen. This is kind of a wildflower one right here. Okay, this white floral right here, I want it repositioned, and I'll tell you why. Because the position that it is in at the moment is not complementary to it. You can't even see it. So I have cut it off, and I'm going to reposition it, and I'm going to put it where I want it to be. So again, I'm thinking about where I want my floral head and the color to land. I want it to be right here. So when I'm inserting it into the grapevine, I'm making sure that that is where it's going to land, which it does. Now you can see it. Now you see that there's something there. Okay? Y'all give me just a minute. Let me step over here and see what it looks like. Okay, yeah, that's looking good. That is definitely looking good. Now look, I need a little bit of greenery behind this sunflower right here. And I've got a couple of these, and I might put one right here, and then I'm going to put some asparagus fern. But it needs something right behind it. So this piece, this greenery is going to the back, if I can get it in there. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit of asparagus fern in it, and it will fill in that hole right there nicely. Okay, and one more. I need one more piece right there. Everybody good? There we go. Okay, I've got one more little teeny place that I need to fill in, but I'm going to get some of this. I'm going to distribute some more of this spray in real quick. So I'm keeping my elements together. Like if I'm cutting off white florals, I'm keeping my white florals together first. My wreath is very full, so I don't need to take all this greenery off. And to be honest with you, I like to save the greeneries on the stems if I can, because I might come in and use this greenery in another project. But I am going to see if I can distribute the rest of this color of yellow and white around. Okay. So again, I am going to use a floral pick. Now, in wreath making, you want to make sure you've heard, if you're in the Wreath of the Month Club and you've watched me, you've heard, as well as Julie, you've heard us say that it is important to make sure that your color is evenly distributed throughout the wreath. And what I'm looking for now when it comes to this filler flower is I want to make sure that both my yellow and my white is evenly throughout the wreath. Okay? So I see a couple areas that I could add color, which is what I'm going to do right now. I need a little bit right down in here. Okay. I need a little bit right here. Also need maybe a little bit up here. I can put a little bit right here, and I need some right there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a little bit more of this in. So I'm going to put some right here. Okay. I'm going to come in with a little bit more white right here. Well, let me get the other first. I'm going to use another floral pick. Everybody doing good? We are just about finished. Just about. The last thing I want to do after I put this in is add a little bit more of texture. And that is going to be these hydrangea, little baby hydrangea vine. So I think I want some right here. I need something right here, right in here. And the only thing I have left is white. So I'm going to put some white right down in here. Does that make sense to y'all? My color is basically pretty evenly distributed throughout my wreath at this point. Everybody doing good over here? I'm so glad you girls have joined me today. Like I said, it was certainly an honor and a privilege to be here. If you're joining us late, my name is Laurie Anne. I am a design coach and Wreath of the Month Club, and Julie has invited me on here today to fill in for her as she is out of town. And as always, it's a pleasure. So I'm going to put this right here. Okay? I'm going to get a still pick. There we go. All right, let me fix my bow back. I don't know about you all, but I am forever adjusting my bows. It amazes me how they get turned around while I'm designing. Does that happen to you? Huh? There we go. Okay, I want to pull some of these elements out just a little bit so they look like they're coming out of the wreath. Like I said, we want this to be wildlife and whimsical, just that area. All right, let's see about this right here. We are going to just see what this looks like. All right, let me think about this for a minute. So I'm going to cut this up. Now, what this does is this adds texture. It gives interest to your wreath. It's just one more little element that you can add to enhance your wreath. So I don't have much of this, but what I do have, I'm going to evenly try to distribute it. It's too loosey-goosey. There we go. Sometimes you just have to play with your elements, don't you? These are supposed to hang over. I mean, they kind of droop. Let's see, do I want to keep this one long? I think I do. Cut it down just a hair. See how it just adds another level to your wreath? Now I need to bring some right here. I'm going to put some up in here. I need some on the inside as well. Don't forget about the inside. But I think what I'm going to do is continue around my wreath. Keep building. Should have put a hanger on this first. I think I'm going to put it right there. There we go. Now I have a couple of little ones left. I could come right in here and put some right here in my bow if I wished. I need some right here, and I'm going to add one more floral pick. The reason why I'm adding a long floral pick is this stem on this is too short to come out the length I want it to come out. So putting a floral pick on it gives you that added length that a still pick will not. And I always like to work with 4-inch because I have more choice as far as the length of the pick will go than if I had like a 2-inch floral pick. Everybody doing good? We are home free. This is just about to wrap up. I'm going to put one right here. There you go. Okay. You just want to go in there and work your elements where you want them to go when you finish up. Now I'm going to add some more ribbon tails. I do have one more of these that I need to place, and I think I'm going to put it right there. Come in here and just put it right down in there. There you go. Like the design I had in my head is for it to be just a little wild looking, and I think I have definitely achieved that look for the most part, and I'm pleased with it. Now what you want to do is you want to make sure that your color, look at it, stand back and look at it, and see about your color. Now look right here. I need some yellow. I definitely need some yellow. So let me see if I can find some yellow real quick. I need a little bit of yellow right there. And I have used up what I have, but I can always come in here and put some yellow with that right there. And for the most part, that's really the only thing I see left. All right, let's think about some ribbon tails real quick. I think I want to do some more 2.5 inch. And all I'm doing is I'm putting a still pick on the end of it. You can use a floral pick for sure, but I'm going to come right up under here, and I'm going to put some hot glue on this, and then look, I am going around behind everything else. So what you want to do is when you add ribbon tails, you want to make sure that you're inserting it basically in the middle of your bow, which is going to be where the ribbon tail, if it was attached to the bow, would come out. So try to get as close to the middle of the bow as you possibly can. Okay. Cut that off. Dovetail that a little more. Now I'm going to get some green and yellow in here real quick. Okay, now notice my bow. Let me bring you in a minute. Y'all notice my bow, all right? See where this ribbon tail is? This is green. I don't want to come up here and put that this green ribbon tail right beside it. I want my green ribbon on this side, okay? I'm thinking in my mind how I can evenly distribute color even when it comes to ribbon tails. Okay? Well, let me put that back in there. I jerked on that a little too hard. There you go. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing, the last thing, with my yellow ribbon. My yellow ribbon's on this side, and I want to bring another ribbon tail in yellow on this side. And then my bow looks evenly, my ribbon streamers will look even as far as color distribution. Okay. Now you want to make sure you get your tails all straight and curled. There you go. I think we are done, ladies and gentlemen. I think we are done. What do y'all think? Let me know. Anybody got any questions? I think it turned out really pretty. How about you? I'll bring it up close to you, okay? So you can see. It's just real wild and airy looking. I never can do this. See how it shakes and it just has so much movement to it. Imagine it was on the front door, somebody's front door, and the wind was blowing. It would just look so like it had some life to it. I love the wild look. Anyway, all right, let me see if anybody's got any questions. Oh, you're welcome, Myra. Well, thank you, Brenda. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right. Let's see over here. Everybody doing good? Thank you, Belinda. Thank you, Pam. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Again, I want to thank Julie for inviting me here on her Southern Charm Wreath page as well as YouTube. I've had a great time, as always, in the wreath shop designing. It is so much fun playing with flowers, isn't it? I hope you have a great weekend. If you have any questions and you're watching this on the replay, please hashtag replay on the in the comments section. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. I will come back in over the weekend and answer them for you. Again, I certainly hope you have a wonderful weekend. As always, please remember, be a blessing to somebody else, and I certainly hope y'all are blessed.